The most difficult and most beautiful language in the world. The true nature of Japanese. Why does Japanese feel beautiful? Imagine this. Someone looks at you and says, "I love you." The meaning is clear, direct, unmistakable. But in Japan, someone might say instead, "The moon is beautiful tonight." The words do not say "I love you." And yet the feeling is understood. Why? Because Japanese is not merely a language for delivering information. It is a language for sharing emotional space. You may have heard that Japanese is the most difficult language in the world. There is no official ranking of language difficulty. However, according to the U.S. Foreign Service Institute (FSI), Japanese is classified as one of the most difficult languages for native English speakers to learn. It requires approximately 2,200 hours of study to reach professional proficiency. But the difficulty of Japanese does not come only from grammar or writing systems. Yes, Japanese uses 3 scripts: hiragana, katakana, kanji. And yes, many kanji characters have multiple readings depending on context. However, those are technical challenges. The real difficulty lies elsewhere. The real difficulty is understanding what is not said. Structural differences: low context versus high context cultures. Anthropologist Edward T. Hall introduced the concepts of low context cultures, high context cultures. Countries such as the United States and Germany are considered low context cultures. Communication is explicit, meaning is carried primarily by words. Japan, by contrast, is considered a high context culture. Meaning is carried not only by words, but by social relationships, shared background, atmosphere, timing, silence. For example, in English, someone might say disagree. In Japanese, the same situation may be expressed as "that's an interesting perspective." The surface meaning sounds neutral, but the implication may be disagreement. This is not indirectness for its own sake. It is a social mechanism designed to preserve harmony and avoid open confrontation. From a psychological perspective, Japanese society tends to emphasize what researchers call an interdependent self-construal. People define themselves not primarily as independent individuals, but in relation to others. This is why honorific language developed so extensively in Japanese. The verb to go can be kemiku plain form, ikimasu polite form, irashimasu honorific form, mairimasu humble form. Language reflects social distance and hierarchy. In 2017, the Japanese word santaku became the buzzword of the year. Its original meaning is to guess or infer another person's feelings. But socially, it came to mean anticipating the wishes of someone in power and acting accordingly, even without explicit instruction. There is no perfect English equivalent, because in many Western cultures, communication is expected to be explicit. In Japan, the expectation to sense in spoken intentions is built into the social structure. The Heian period, when poetry determined your worth. Let us go back over 1,000 years. During the Heian period 794–1185, aristocratic society in Kyoto placed enormous importance on waka poetry. Waka follows a 31-syllable structure 5-7-5-7-7. But waka was not merely a hobby. It was a measure of education, sensitivity, and social refinement. Romantic relationships began with poetry. A man would send a woman a waka poem. She would reply with another poem. The elegance of the wording, the seasonal references, the subtlety of emotion, all were judged carefully. Even the beauty of the handwriting mattered. Calligraphy reflected character. If the writing was careless, it suggested a careless heart. Historical records show that poetic exchanges could influence marriage decisions. Language, in this society, determined social value. Consider a famous waka by Ariwara no Narahira if there were no cherry blossoms in this world, how much more peaceful our hearts would be in spring. On the surface, it speaks about cherry blossoms. But beneath it lies the idea that beauty disturbs the heart. Because blossoms bloom and then fall. Waka never explains directly. The reader completes the emotion. Hikaru Genji, love without direct words. In the Tale of Genji, written by Murasaki Shikibu, the protagonist Hikaru Genji is an ideal nobleman, handsome, cultured, skilled in poetry. Yet his love is rarely expressed directly. Take the episode with Yugao. Genji does not say, "I love you." Instead, he exchanges waka poems with her. Their emotions, longing, insecurity, jealousy, are embedded in poetic imagery. When Yugao suddenly dies, the narrative does not explicitly describe Genji's grief. The reader must feel it. This is literature that deepens emotion by leaving space. Japanese storytelling often relies on emotional inference rather than explanation. Matsuo Bashō and the Philosophy of 17 Syllables. In 1689, during the Edo period, Matsuo Bashō set out on a long journey through northern Japan. His travel journal, Oku no Hosomichi, The Narrow Road to the Deep North, became a literary masterpiece. His famous haiku, An old silent pond a frog jumps in, the sound of water. The word ya in the original Japanese functions as a cutting word. It creates a pause, a moment of stillness. An ancient pond, timeless, silent, then suddenly a frog jumps. Just the sound of water. Bashō does not describe emotions. Yet readers experience stillness, time, impermanence. The power lies in what is omitted. 17 syllables create infinite space. A psychological perspective on beauty. Japanese is not vague. It is a language built on advanced empathy. It assumes that speakers and listeners will imagine each other's perspectives. It assumes sensitivity to nuance. This reduces confrontation. It preserves harmony. It requires emotional intelligence. Japanese does not suppress emotion. It treats emotion carefully. Conclusion. Japanese is not merely a system of grammar and vocabulary. It is a technology for preserving relationships. A culture of shared silence. An art of emotional restraint. A tradition of meaningful space. That is why it is difficult. And that is why it is beautiful.